The most dangerous thing you can do to a woman is not cheat, not lie, not disappear. It's to watch another man flirt with her and feel nothing. No tightening of the jaw, no shift in posture, no claim of ownership. Just calm observation, almost amused. That moment lodges itself in her nervous system like a splinter. She won't talk about it right away. She won't even fully understand it. But she will feel it, and she will not forget it. Before we go further, handle the preliminaries. If you want coaching, the link is in the description and pinned comment. Use it if you're tired of learning lessons the expensive way. And our latest Patreon video is called How Women Decide You're Emotionally Handled. If you've ever felt quietly placed into a category you didn't choose, that video explains exactly how the judgment was made. Now let's dissect jealousy, or more precisely, the absence of it. Most men believe jealousy is proof of desire. They think it signals care, investment, masculinity. They're wrong, but consistently so, which is why the mistake is widespread. Jealousy is not a display of strength. It's a confession of dependency. It announces that your emotional balance is contingent on her behavior. Women hear that announcement instantly, even when it's wrapped in jokes or silence or passive aggression. When a man never gets jealous, women don't feel unloved. They feel unsettled. The first thing she feels is confusion. Her internal script expects a reaction, some sign that she matters enough to provoke possessiveness. When it doesn't arrive, her mind scrambles to explain the anomaly. Is he indifferent? Is he naive? Or is he operating from a position so secure that jealousy would be beneath him? That third possibility is the one that sticks, because it's the most dangerous. Jealousy is predictable. Calm is not. A man who never gets jealous sends a quiet message. I am not afraid of loss. That message hits deeper than any declaration of exclusivity. Fearless men force women to reassess their leverage. If she can't move you by threatening attention withdrawal or external competition, then her usual pressure points don't work. That realization creates tension, and tension breeds fixation. This is where the simps collapse. They think women want reassurance in moments of perceived competition. They rush to stake claims, to signal ownership, to puff their chests like anxious guards. What they don't understand is that jealousy lowers your perceived rank. It frames you as someone protecting a scarce resource rather than someone who can replace it. Women who know how to play men understand this instinctively. They've seen how easily jealousy can be provoked and exploited. They've watched men unravel with a well-placed story or a delayed reply. When they encounter a man who doesn't react, who doesn't interrogate, who doesn't sulk, they don't feel ignored. They feel disarmed. There's research that supports this dynamic, even if it's rarely discussed in polite company. A study published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin examined how emotional self-sufficiency affects perceived mate value and found that individuals who appeared less reactive to threats of loss were rated as higher status and more desirable in long-term and short-term contexts. In simpler language, emotional non-reactivity increases attraction because it signals abundance and control. When you never get jealous, women start scanning for evidence of why. They look at your lifestyle, your social circle, your time allocation. They notice whether other women orbit you effortlessly, or whether your life appears full, even without romantic drama. Jealousy-free behavior forces her to justify your calm, and the most flattering explanation is usually the one she adopts. Here's the dark joke of it all. Men think jealousy proves they care, but women often interpret it as proof that you don't have better options. And no one wants to feel like the ceiling of someone else's potential. The absence of jealousy also reframes power during conflict. When she mentions another man to test you, and you don't bite, the test boomerangs. She becomes the one exposed, suddenly aware of her own tactic. That awareness breeds self-consciousness. Self-consciousness shifts dynamics. Now she's wondering how she appears to you, instead of how you appear to her. This doesn't mean women want emotional coldness. That's another misinterpretation men cling to. The man who never gets jealous still engages. He still enjoys. He still chooses. But his choice is not reactive. It's deliberate. And deliberate choices feel heavier than emotional reflexes. Women feel a strange mix of safety and danger around such men. Safety because he isn't volatile or controlling. Danger because he cannot be controlled emotionally. That combination is intoxicating to women who understand power. It's terrifying to those who rely on leverage. Men often sabotage themselves here by explaining their lack of jealousy. They say things like, "I trust you," or "I'm just secure." That's unnecessary. Calm doesn't need narration. Explaining your emotional restraint turns it into a performance, and performances always look weaker up close. Silence, on the other hand, lets her imagination do the heavy lifting. Now let's address the fear lurking behind most male jealousy. The fear of replacement. When you never get jealous, you imply that replacement is not catastrophic. That implication forces a woman to consider your exit as a real possibility. Not because you threaten it, but because you're not guarding against it. And nothing sharpens desire like the awareness that access is not guaranteed. Women don't bond to men who cling. They bond to men who can walk away without theatrics. That potential loss feels real precisely because it isn't weaponized. Here's where men get uncomfortable. To genuinely not feel jealousy, you have to build a life where your identity isn't centered on one woman's approval. You can fake calm for a while, but cracks show. Women are excellent at spotting emotional fraud. Real non-jealousy comes from having options, purpose, and a sense of self that predates the relationship. This is why women who are adept at manipulation respect men who don't flinch. They recognize the work behind that composure. They know it's not accidental. They know it's earned. Homework time, because theory without application is just entertainment. Over the next month, observe your internal reactions when you feel the first spark of jealousy. Don't suppress it theatrically. Analyze it. Ask yourself what exactly you're afraid of losing. Her, your ego, or your imagined position. Then, build parts of your life that make that loss survivable. Diversify your attention. Strengthen your routines. Expand your social world until one person's actions don't destabilize you. Next, stop commenting on perceived competition. Let stories about other men pass without interrogation. Watch what happens when you don't reach for reassurance or dominance. The discomfort you feel is the muscle growing. Stay with it. Finally, notice how women respond over time. Some will escalate tests. Others will soften. A few will drift away because they can't operate without leverage. That's not a loss. It's a filtration system. If you like this video, subscribe. Not because you owe loyalty, but because repeated exposure to these ideas reshapes instinct. And instinct is what betrays men under pressure. And leave a comment answering this. The last time you felt jealous, what were you really afraid of losing? And do you still need to be afraid of it now? Welcome to the dark side of your mind, an armory disguised as advice. Everything here exists to give you clarity sharper than the games being played against you. The reading is where I dissect your situation with precision, what he meant, what he didn't, what you missed. About 1,000 words, plus one follow-up question to tighten the strategy. The case file is the full autopsy, a complete psychological breakdown in writing, plus a private audio message so you hear the parts most people avoid. One follow-up to lock it in. If you want speed, there's the whisper. 400 words. Direct. Unfiltered. No extra dialogue. If you prefer tone and voice, the weight of the message itself, the transmission gives you a private audio response. No follow-up. No hand-holding. And if your situation is messy enough for multiple angles, buy 2 services, and the third is free. Strategy rewards commitment. If you want the truth delivered publicly, without exposing yourself, there's the public whisper. One question, one strategic answer, posted for others to learn from. Short, clean, no follow-up. You already know why you're here. You ask your question, and within 72 hours, you get clarity most people never develop. Emotional discipline, psychological leverage, the ability to stop repeating patterns that drain you. The dark side of your mind isn't here to soothe you. It's here to change how you move.